This is the fourth video, as you can see by the four fingers. Four, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we're back. We're talking about, lots of stuff here in this video series, and I'm trying to get it all condensed. Thank you for staying with me if you made it this far. If you're just tuning in now and you didn't see the other ones, I recommend going back, but it's going to be like a half hour of your life you can't get back. So if you just want to sit here, chill with me for a while, give me some comments and some questions for my next Q&A, that'd really help me out a lot. Back to stuff. The question in the last video was, what are some things that I particularly like and enjoy? And I was talking about reading and books, and we got into Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, that kind of role-play game stuff. That's where I am at right now. I like to write. I try to write fantasy fiction. One of my goals is to be, an author. So I would really like to have my own book out at some point. I have a pretty good idea of where I want to go with it right now. It's just a matter of finding time between doing all these wrestling videos and my college work and, finding a career and just all that in general. Just sorting it out, getting a good outline. I've already got a lot of the maps, kind of drawn up in Microsoft Paint. They need to get out on real paper, real size, and colored pencil a little bit instead of just really crappy, one choice for green, one choice for brown, one choice for red, that sort of thing just doesn't fly with me. So a couple of other things that I like. I'm obviously a video gamer. I was into World of Warcraft for a while. I don't know if I want to try to even get back into it now. It seems like it's a totally different game. I played when it first came out. I went back for the Burning Crusade. I went back again for Wrath of the Lich King. And then I played some Trial here with this new Cataclysm thing, and it just seems to me like they've dumbed it down so much and taken away a lot of your individualism, let's say, or the ability to make a unique character. Everything's got to fit like a certain mold now, almost like it's pre-planned for you. You can't put, talent points into one thing and another thing and customize yourself. It's got to be like one way or the highway almost. That's what it seems to me. If I'm wrong, leave me comments. I really want to know, like, what am I missing? Because I haven't played it a lot. Final Fantasy. Let's talk about the Final Fantasy franchise and the saga in general. I was a huge fan from the first game. That's the old school NES. I believe it came out in '87 in the United States. I used the Japanese numbering system because the one in the Americas was absolutely wrong and broken. So my favorite Final Fantasy game is Final Fantasy IV. My favorite character in that game is Kain. Kain is a dragoon. If you've never played the game, you're really missing out. I believe they re-released it on the Nintendo DS with updated graphics, and it looks a lot like Final Fantasy VII-ish type graphics, but done a lot better, more continuous. Like, I don't know how to describe it because I didn't actually own a Nintendo DS. I just knew a couple of kids that had it, and I was interested because it was always one of my favorite games. My favorite Final Fantasy character, I'm going to go with Shadow from Final Fantasy VI. I have a thing for ninjas and his mysterious kind of backstory that you could totally miss out on if you didn't have him in your party a lot and stay at the inn and get the dream sequences and all that. He was really like a sad character. Like, he was really to the point of his life where he just wanted to be with his one true love or whatever. And I hope I'm not ruining this for anybody that hasn't played the game, but like, he was a really deep character, even though he didn't say a whole hell of a lot. He had a whole lot to offer. His story was pretty good. He was definitely my favorite character from that series. I'm going to go back to a couple of wrestling questions now, just stuff that I've been thinking of off the top of my head. And then we're going to cut this video, and I'm going to, pray that people want to subscribe or want to, see more videos at least, and give me some questions or give me some comments or, stuff for me to do. I do check this throughout the day, even though I'm in class, and doing homework and stuff. It really takes 3 seconds to log into YouTube and see if you have comments. And it's a nice break every now and then because there's a lot of reading involved in schoolwork. So, getting back to wrestling, what's the one thing that they did, semi this year, into last year-ish kind of stuff, um, that I really think that they dropped the ball on would be the Nexus. Like, that really could have been like this really good angle, and it could have been very strong, and they just kind of like pulled the plug on it way too soon. And like, I know a lot of people that I talk wrestling with were like, oh shit, this is like the new NWO, this is going to be like a really awesome stable. And obviously it was too big, they needed to trim some of the fat. But its first debut where they're beating up the champ and taking over the show and everything, like, before the whole locker room was against them, like, it seemed like it had that quality of surprise, like you really didn't see it coming. And I was excited. I really wanted that to get over because I'm a Wade Barrett fan. We talked about that in the videos past, and I was disappointed. WWE had very short-sightedness with this angle, and I think that if given the right chance to grow, that Wade Barrett could have been an even bigger star right then, and he wouldn't have had to go through this whole intercontinental, hodgepodge mess and that whole core thing, and just, yeah. So, what is one of my, I would say, what's something that I remember from my childhood in terms of wrestling a lot is, I remember there always being Hulk Hogan on top, and I know he was the guy, but I remember like a rotation of guys that it would go through, and I remember that it always seemed a lot more competitive back then than it is now. Like, the titles all had a lot more prestige back then. Like, and there were less titles to begin with because it was all one roster. And I've talked about this before, but I want to mention it again, that if they went back to just having one roster and quit this whole Raw, SmackDown profiling crap, they could do a lot more, and they could have a lot more to work with. Also, I think that it would be healthy if they cut down the amount of pay-per-views they have per year. Not only is the economy suffering and people don't give a shit about, the in-between pay-per-views from the big four, but they're just going to stream them online if they can get them. And they really don't mean anything because there's not a whole lot of build. There's nothing special about them. Like, you're throwing a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view at us 2 weeks after we just had Night of Champions, which to me was completely disappointing. I have a review about that. I tell you that I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I don't understand where they're going with it. And to be honest with you, I don't think that between now and then, obviously I'm making this video while I've got another Raw left to go, that it's going to make any more sense. Like, wow, thanks for building it up, with 2 shows. It's not enough time. You don't even get people on that show that could be on the pay-per-view in that amount of time. You have to devote so much of it to your main event that's going to sell the show that you really lose a lot of stuff. I forgot my train of thought here. Where the fuck was I going? You lose any kind of impact that pay-per-view might have had in making history because they think it's just a bunch of schmaz, last-minute stuff thrown together. So I'd really like to see them go back to the big 4 pay-per-views, or at least do 6 or something, like every 2 months maybe, just so that they can start making feuds that matter and having more matches in the ring and telling a story that way, other than just a bunch of guys coming out and arguing with each other and cutting promos, because that's not something that I want to see as a fan. Alright, so I'm just going to call it here because we're getting to that mark again. Thank you for staying with me. And, what the hell day is it? Oh, it's Thursday. Impact's on tonight. So happy Thursday. And hopefully I'll have some more videos up for anybody soon. Give me those questions. Give me some comments. And once again, thank you.